Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to 10 lies that Europeans believe about Americans. Now, this is an interesting topic because the first time I went to America, when I first went to America, I was 10. But then the second time was when I was about 13 or 14. And I thought that as soon as we landed, all I was going to see were overweight people, were fat people. Just because here in England, there's a stereotype that all Americans are fat. I mean, most people don't believe it now, but I did back in the day. You know, I was a kid, so you can cut me some slack. But then when I got here, no, there was an actual reason. It was kind of fairly similar. Maybe there were slightly more overweight people than there are here in England, but it was nothing like I imagined. So I imagine there's a ton of other misconceptions that Europeans probably believe that aren't entirely true. Whether that's people in the media or people in just popular culture that are perpetuating these things. I don't know how these kind of ideas kind of just take root, but it's going to be fun to see, some actual stereotypes that I might already have in my head that I don't even realize. So yeah, this should be really, really fun. Let's do it.
The next lie, okay, and this might just be a me thing, but the next lie that I believed about America before I went to America, and I actually think you're going to probably slag me off for this in comments. So today I'm going to be talking about 10 weird lies Europeans are told about America. Things that I learned growing up and that then once I visited America, I kind of had to unlearn. In case you're interested, I also have a list doing this the other way around, so let me know below in comments if you want to see lies Americans are told about Europe. And today's video is brought to you by the new thing that has been consuming an hour of my evening every day on the couch. It's the mobile game Hero. First lie that I was told was that Hollywood is full of shiny things and celebrities are just everywhere. I'm gonna say it. Hollywood itself is kind of a kip.
Wow, she really went there.
When I was there, I may have seen some celebrities, but they were keeping really low key and had baseball caps on, so they were very hard to spot. And Hollywood, as I said, is not that shiny and wonderful. The Hollywood sign itself is, I'll be honest, it's kind of a letdown. I guess I pictured Beverly Hills when I thought of Hollywood, but no.
This is actually kind of true. Even though I've never been to LA or Hollywood or anything like that, I used to think that Hollywood would be like, you turn that way, you'd see The Rock. You turn that way, you'd see Sylvester Stallone. But I imagine it's probably just like an upmarket, nice place. And then there's the obvious homeless situation as well. I don't know. I need to visit, to be fair.
The next lie that Europeans are told about America is that it's just full of extremes. And don't get me wrong, it is, but it's not just extremes. Our perception through the media is that Americans are either really fat or really fit. They're either total jocks or nerds. Stereotypes from movies. That. And like I said, don't get me wrong, those stereotypes exist for a reason. However, the majority of people are not extremes. They're just regular, in-between people with thoughts and feelings that vary and are nuanced. The next lie that Europeans are told about America is that you just quit your jobs whenever you want to. And that's again from TV shows and films. People just go, I quit when they're unhappy or having a bad day.
You're fired.
I quit!
You're fired.
I quit.
You're fired!
You're fired! Right, I mean, I already quit, so.
Additionally, we think from the same sources that you can just go, you're fired out of the blue, and there's no repercussions for that. In fact, a lot of times contracts are in place and stuff, and it just doesn't work like that in the real world. On The Apprentice, they do the you're fired, but that's specific.
Is this entirely true though? Like, I mean, if you're like a waitress or a server, can your boss must be able to fire you, like if you're, just doing bad service, or do you have like rights that like Diane mentioned?
The next lie that you are told about America as a European is that everybody in America is obsessed with celebrities, whereas actually the truth couldn't be farther from that. Okay, so in Europe, a lot of our celebrities come from America, so we naturally presume that everybody is completely obsessed with celebrities within America. In actual fact, most people just kind of see their lives and what goes on behind the scenes as a little bit of entertainment, just like we do in Europe. One thing I will say is kind of odd as a European, always when I go to America, is seeing on your mainstream news the focus on celebrities within actual serious news programs.
Really?
We don't really have that as much in Europe. I know in the UK they focus a lot on royalty.
Make way for the loser!
But you don't tend to see people talking about celebs on news shows as much in Europe.
Yeah, not really.
The next lie, okay, and this might just be a me thing, but the next lie that I...
This reminds me of the bit where Dave Chappelle's bit, like, where is Ja Rule? I think it was a hurricane or something, and the news anchor was like, we've got Ja Rule on the line. Like, why would Ja Rule's opinion be important at that point?
I believed about America before I went to America, and I actually think you're going to probably slag me off for this in comments. I thought that you guys only had roll-on deodorant.
What?
I thought you didn't have spray-on deodorant. Because
No,
in movies,
I've never
people
heard
always
this one.
roll on their deodorant, you know, in the changing rooms and stuff. I know
they?
we have Old Spice and stuff like that, but for some reason, I had it in my head that in America, spray-on deodorant didn't exist. And I was always like, wow, they should really get spray-on deodorant. I guess they don't use it in films because it goes...
Yeah,
and it would make a noise,
go
whereas
everywhere.
like it's easier to just do the roll-on if you're like shooting a TV scene. You don't have to have the... But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just a me. If you're from Europe, did you know that spray-on deodorant existed in America? Because I didn't.
I'd be willing to bet that most of you guys who are watching this video use spray deodorant as a side to roll-on deodorant. Let me know. I can't. The last time I used roll-on deodorant, I was probably about 10, maybe even younger than that. I just find that the spray stuff is just way better.
The next misconception that Europeans have about America is that you're all really rich. And I get why this misconception exists, to be fair. Your houses and the
bigger.
land that your houses are on are generally a lot bigger
It's true.
than what we have in Europe for middle class people. Additionally, many people in America live on credit, so a lot of people are living above their means to what they really should be living. And the thing about credit in America is you are encouraged to use credit. Like, a lot of things you can't get until you build up credit, which exists in Europe, but it isn't so much focused on. Like, there are other ways to build up your
Credit rating.
trust with banks.
Yeah.
And as I've mentioned before, I've never seen poverty quite like I've seen in America. In Europe, of course, there are homeless people, but not in the same way that they are in America. It really shocked me. Because I went over expecting, as I said, pretty much everybody to be super rich, and then I saw people looking like Oliver Twist on the street, and that was a surprise to me.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Additionally, some things in America are a lot cheaper than they are where I come from in Ireland. Ireland has just been named alongside Denmark as the most expensive country in Europe for the cost of living. The prices of goods and services...
Just going back to the credit thing, is credit really a huge issue in America in terms of people living, purely in their overdraft, like everything's on credit, like their car's on credit, they buy clothing items on credit.
Services in Ireland are on average 40% higher than they are anywhere else in the EU. And then when I went to America, it was like things were more expensive in some areas but cheaper in other areas. So I was surprised because I thought everything would be the same, if not more expensive when I went there. The next lie that we are told about America, and this should come as no surprise, and I don't want to get bogged down in the discussion too much, but it's that everybody there has pew-pews.
Oh.
And they don't. Not everybody does. In fact, it's a very divided country on people's opinions about that, but
from
people
what I've
have very
seen.
strong opinions about that, and I'm going to swiftly move on.
Yeah,
I
I
just
think
thought
it's
that
for the
every
best.
single person would have one when I went there, and that's not the case. The next lie that Europeans are told...
Yeah, I think there's entire states that ban them, I think. I think New York and Los Angeles, I think they're banned or something like that. Explain it to me. I'm sure I've completely messed that bit up.
about America is that pretty much teenagers run America, if media was to be believed, and movies and TV shows. In actual fact, I have still not seen a cheerleader when I've gone to America. I have never been invited to a prom or homecoming, and that seems like an integral part of your society from film and TV. So yeah, I know movies and TV shows aren't real, but I definitely thought that teenagers would have a more central role in America as a result of watching so many of them.
It's true though, like in every sort of young adult, or not young adult, but like movie that I watched from America before like 2010, it had like cheerleaders or football players or college athletes involved. I think it's a common thing in like old American movies.
The next lie that we are told about America is that you guys eat fast food constantly. And that
especially
actually
pizza.
could not be further from the truth. Americans, more so than anywhere else in the world, love to cook. Americans love to barbecue. It's like your thing. You're like, my grill, my barbecue, you're mad for cooking. There is fast food on every corner in America, so that's where the perception comes from. It's a lot easier to get your hands on, but most Americans don't eat fast food every single day. You cook for the most part. I definitely thought Americans just ate TV dinners and fast food constantly, and cooking was like something you did at family events.
Rare occasions.
The next lie that we were told about America is that your breakfasts are crazy. Like, you eat waffles and pancakes and cereal every single morning. You have a full feast for breakfast.
Yeah, chicken and waffles is something that I discovered in America. Like, I would have never thought to combine chicken and waffles, but it works. It works.
Every day.
So yay! Enjoy smelling breakfast.
In fact, I think most Americans probably live on just the same kinds of breakfast as most of us Europeans do. Of course, we have Irish breakfast, you have American breakfast, which consists of waffles and pancakes. They do exist. But mostly, I think our general day breakfasts cross over. You might have a bowl of porridge, a bowl of cereal, slice of toast, bit of coffee. I definitely thought it was like America-themed breakfast every single day, whereas that's not really sustainable, and you would
You'd be as big as a
carrying
house.
lot of extra weight if you ate that every single day. I would love to have American breakfast every single day, but it's not a good idea. Although the same could be said for Irish breakfast. You should not eat Irish breakfast every single day, because to be honest, after I have an Irish breakfast, it's delicious, but it slows me down. I'm like I like to have a little nap after an Irish.
It's like a full English breakfast here. I love them. Honestly, if I could eat anything without gaining weight, I'd have a full English breakfast every day. But she's right. You eat it and you just all of the meat and the carbs, you just like slow
down. The next lie we're told about America, and there's truth in this one, but not as much as I had thought, it's that you will go around suing each other constantly. America is an extremely litigious country, but I think that's also due to the proportion of people compared to everywhere else in the world. Like, if there's more people somewhere, there's going to be more people suing people, right? But the impression that we are given of Americans is that if you bang your head on something, you're going to sue the company that built that something. Whereas the truth is, most times when something happens, people just let it go.
Is it true that there's people that follow ambulances around, like lawyers who follow ambulances just for the purpose of trying to represent the person in the ambulance? Is that true? Like ambulance chasers? Like, let me know. Please tell me that's complete BS.
Unless there's like serious ramifications. I definitely did think people just went around suing each other. I don't think that this is not fueled by the urban myths that are created on the internet. For example, there's that urban myth about the woman in America who sued McDonald's because her coffee was too hot, whereas if you actually go and look that up, the truth is that woman was actually really badly injured and that the coffee was way hotter than it should have been. But people like these extravagant headlines, and it makes Europeans think that Americans do just go around being like, you're sued, you're sued, you're sued. And also I thought that every American just had a lawyer on standby, because when you see things again, people go, call my lawyer. Most people don't just have a lawyer to call. You generally have to research that. Let me know below in comments if you want to see the other way round version of this. Like,
great video.
Americans are told.
That was a great video. Like, she definitely like, in terms of the one that I thought of, the one about Americans being like tend to being obese, like I knew that one was going to come up because it is such a common stereotype about Americans. And it's kind of funny because now with things like social media, Instagram in particular, with all these fitness models coming from America, you would have thought that that stereotype would kind of be on its way out, but no, like a lot of people here still think that Americans are usually overweight. The other one that really piqued my interest was the suing. It does, like, I have heard that phrase a lot, you know, I'll sue you. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. Like, I have definitely heard that a ton in American shows, and I did think that, you know, most Americans had a lawyer contact that they called in when, you know, in times of needing to sue someone. But yeah, I don't think that's true either, because surely to have a lawyer on retainer, you're gonna have to pay that lawyer. So if you know, unless you know that you're likely going to need them, why would you randomly just pay some lawyer, you know, hundreds if not thousands of dollars just to have, you know, have them wait for you in case you need to call them? Really funny stuff. Really enjoyed the video from Diane though. She did a great job. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.